Halloween. Halloween is the greatest time of year. You've got candy, you've got trick-or-treating, you've got parties, you've got costumes, you've got horror movies. It is a fun time. The only thing that brings it down are little bitch fucks dressed as Ninja Turtles crying because they didn't get the Hershey bar because they got a Smarties instead. Motherfucker, shut your fucking face. You get a goddamn Smartie. No, but that's not what it's about today. Today, even though Halloween is one of the greatest times of year, and it's a lot of fun to just go out, hang out with some friends, maybe go to a nice college party. Huh? College party? Hot sorority girls? Huh? Dressed as bunnies, every single one's dressed like a bunny or Catwoman? Sluts? Really? Right? Am I right? But even though it can get so fun and so enjoyable, there's so many good things about it. Sometimes tragedies happen. Inexplainable, distressing times, shootings, gunfights, all that sort of shit. All that sad stuff happens on Halloween as well. So today, I compiled a very small list, very, very teeny list, a list of 3. So is that even a list? Very small list of tragedies that have happened on or around Halloween. And I just thought they're interesting. I've never heard of any of these ones before, but I was like, you know what? Halloween's such a great time of year. How can I make it depressing? So here we go. I compiled this little list right here of all of these tragedies, and I'm going to go over them with you today. Starting out with the Great South Korean Crush. So starting off, this is the Great South Korean Crush. It's 2022. Imagine this, 2022. You're a little Korean person, and you're stuck indoors. All you do is wear a mask and watch BTS on the TV, whatever the fuck they do, and they start lowering the COVID restrictions. And even though it's Halloween, and Koreans don't celebrate Halloween traditionally, which is like the most boring fucking thing in the world, but thank God I'm not Korean. I feel like someone's doing something wrong over in South Korea. My boy Kim Jong out in your North version never do something like that. So thank you, North Korea. But picture this, you're a little South Korean person in South Korea. COVID restrictions are lowering. You're sick of watching BTS and Blackpink over and over and over again. And even though you don't really celebrate Halloween, you're like, Halloween time is, it's coming around. It's October and the restrictions are lowered. I want to go out and hang out with my friends. I want to go out to all the bars and Itaewon, if that's how you pronounce it. You want to go out to all the bars and the clubs in Itaewon with your friends. You want to get drunk. You want to dress up as like a doctor, and you just want to go have fun. Well, too fucking bad. Tonight, it is time for you to be smushed like a little Korean sardine in a back alley. Itaewon it's like the fun district of Seoul in South Korea. It has all the bars, it has all the clubs, it's where everyone goes to hang out. So obviously, because COVID restrictions lowered back in 2022, all the Korean people were so happy to finally do something fun, and so an estimated 100,000 Koreans fled the streets of Itaewon and just wanted to hang out with their friends and drink and all this sort of stuff. But tragedy struck because, if you think about it, 100,000 people in one small little place is not the greatest idea. But nobody thought of that, and nobody thought to put precautions. And eventually, it got so clogged, so overpopulated, the nightlife was too hard that it ended up pushing about 10,000 people into this back alley in Itaewon. And they all got compressed like a zip file, like little Korean sardines. They were squished in there. 10,000 people in a little thin back alley, and there's just no way of them getting out. There were so many people. They were actually trapped. So eventually, cops were called. Emergency vehicles came. Emergency personnel, ambulances, all that sort of stuff. Nobody could get in, and because 100,000 people, a lot of vehicles everywhere, just in this small little district where there's a lot of bars. So it was a shit show, just to say the least. Eventually, the press released that it was 150 people dead, at least 82 injured. And all of this is because you stuck 100,000 people in your population and stuffed them all into this one little area, and there were no precautions. Evidently, there might have been. I couldn't find any sources on it, but I feel like there should have been police tape, something like that, saying, "Hey guys, there's already 100,000 of y'all in here. Go find something else to do." But nobody did that, and because of that, many people were trampled. A lot of people were scurrying around. They couldn't breathe in that back alley, and it is a tragedy. The president of Seoul gave a little statement about how like sad he was that this tragic event happened, but also like South Korea isn't like, it's not that big of a place, and he explained how he was responsible for their safety, and that is true, but if you really wanted to be responsible for their safety, why didn't they have cops there, just to maintain the peace, like the flow of traffic, everything, make sure that it wasn't as stuffed and clogged like, my toilet after fucking Chipotle. It was over the top, but nobody did anything, and 151 people died because of it. Next one is the Candyman Killer. The Candyman Killer is one of the coolest names I've ever heard, but he does not deserve that name at all, because the guy was just kind of like a retarded dweeb. He does not deserve this cool of a name. So in 1974, an 8-year-old boy named Timothy O'Brien died when he consumed a pixie stick laced with cyanide that was given to him by his father, Ronald. According to Ronald, he got the candy from a couple's house while they were all out trick-or-treating. When he gave them to Tim immediately mentioned how bitter it was and began convulsing and died less than an hour later. This was a long time ago, so I feel like I can joke about it, but it's kind of like ironically funny, because we always make jokes about, oh fuck, they put fentanyl in my fucking Crunch Bar, shit like that. I didn't think that actually happened, but did in 1974, dude. They were way ahead of their time. We make jokes about it now, but shit, fucking Ronald back then was doing it. He was out there getting the job done. So Ronald said that when he was out trick-or-treating with his kid, they skipped a house, so he went up to the front porch of that house and he got pixie sticks, a couple pixie sticks from the owner. He said that the owner didn't open the door all the way, and they just handed him the pixie sticks, and he just went on his merry way. He didn't seem that strange, so he grabbed the pixie sticks and he headed off, and he was like, Tim, you want pixie stick? You want pixie stick? Say my name. Say my name, Tim. What's my name, Tim? Take the fucking pixie. Fucking rip their fucking mouth. It starts. It doesn't look like that, but it starts like dumping the pixie stick in his mouth. Like, hold fucking still, Tim. Hold still. You like that, don't you? Huh? You like that, don't you, little Tim? And he's fucking choking all over the place. That's essentially what happened. He forced the pixie stick upon him like it was molestation, and he said, "Here, won't you? What, you don't like pixie sticks? What are you, pussy? You don't like pixie sticks? When I was your age, I would snort pixie sticks like it was crack cocaine. That's how with it I was, boys." And so he stuffed the pixie stick into the kid's face, pretty much, and got him to eat it, and he ended up dying. The father was heartbroken. Ronald was very sad that Timothy had died. He died on the way to the hospital about an hour after he started convulsing. Ronald claimed it was the pixie sticks from that person's house. But what the police noticed was that Ronald went to his insurance agents, and Ronald doubled how much money he would get. He went through insurance, and I think he made it it was $10,000 in case of a death for one of his kids, and he went there and he changed his claim, and it would have been $20,000 in time of untimely death. So he changed that back a couple months before he ended up killing his own kid. And then the next day, right after poor little Tim died, the next day he immediately tried to withdraw all that money, and that got the alert of all the cops, because fucking obviously, like, he did it the next day. Why didn't you just wait? You could have waited like a couple weeks or like a month. But he wasn't that smart. Motherfucker was greedy for that cash. So he withdrew it immediately, and the cops looked into it, and they found out that he had thousands of dollars worth of debt. He couldn't hold a job to save his life, so he killed his own kid to get the insurance money. Killed his own kid to get the insurance money. And I feel bad for Tim because, he died. First of all, I feel bad because he died. He was a little kid. He was like 8 years old and he died. But it was even more sad because he had a little kid sister. So Ronald would fucking flip a coin to see which kid he was going to kill first. I mean, I feel like he would have killed the little kid's sister. Ron had more years with Tim. So I feel like he would have liked Tim a little bit more. I don't know. I don't really understand how killers work, but I feel bad because fucking Ronald took a quarter and just went ting. Shit, man. I love my daughter too much, and he flips it again. He's like, Tim, that motherfucker fucking saw my penis when I walked out of the shower this morning. That's not cool. And the thing is, he doubled the money on both of his kids' insurance policies. So it was $10,000 for each kid. He doubled it for $20,000 for each kid. I don't know if that was some sort of package deal. Like you have to doubling it for one kid, you have to double it for both kids. Obviously, I don't know. But it makes me wonder if he was planning on killing his other kid as well, or, if he was still, it was like a coin flip, it was just I don't know how premeditated it was that was going to be Timothy. I don't know, I feel like Timothy pissed him off or something. He burped at the dinner table, and Ronald was like, didn't want to have to do this. You know what I mean? Grabs the pixie stick and stuffs it right into his fucking nose. So, right after he withdrew or attempted to withdraw the money, the cops came and they arrested him. He eventually got to trial, and he insisted that he did not kill his son. He insisted they did not kill his son. He said the pixie stick came from that house that he got them from. He said he didn't see what the owner looked like. He just stuck the door out. He just stuck his hand out the door and just gave him a wad of pixie sticks. That's the most, suspicious thing in the world. So even if it was true that he did that, he'd be, the most retarded father to ever live. Because he didn't even hear, a voice. They just, it's just like a door. Just, stuff his arm through the door and just, I remember these when I was a kid. And he just, takes him. Thank you, mister. And just walks off. That's suspicious. I would think someone, put a razor blade in my pixie stick or something. If they could fit it, I feel like that's what would have happened, But according to him, it all came from that pixie stick that he got from that house. The owner of that house did not kill his kid, obviously. Not just because he just didn't do it. He was also not at home when it happened. He was at work till 11 o'clock, and they went trick-or-treating around 8 o'clock. So he wasn't even there. But he kept insisting, Ronald kept insisting that whoever gave him the pixie stick was a fabled someone that put drugs in candy. It was the urban legend around the area. And according to him, that very person gave him cyanide-laced pixie sticks, which is obviously not true. It's really, really stupid. It's so obvious because he just... there's no case. Obviously there was no case because he just took the insurance money out immediately. He's like, I can't believe Tim bit the dust like that. Beep. And he just gets a wad of cash. Obviously not. So that it was a big trial, but that trial only lasted. I mean, it was a big trial. It was a pretty famous trial. But it only lasted 46 minutes. I believe it lasted... I might be wrong. Actually, I might be wrong about that. Either way, the jurors found him guilty, and just a couple minutes later, he got sentenced to death by lethal injection. And Ronald went kicking and screaming the entire way. For the next 10 years, he kept insisting that he didn't do it, that somebody else killed his kid, that was the fabled Candyman, fentanyl stuff inside of my Twix bar, killer. That wasn't Ronald, but obviously it was Ronald. And he kept kicking and screaming and crying. Have you no shame? At least admit it. At least you look kind of manly. He tried to save as much face as he possibly could at the end, and it just made him look like a little bitch. Just at least admit it. At least you'd go down in history as something other than the pussy child killer. That's that sounds bad. But the little pussy child killer, you could have just said, yeah, I did it. I needed the money. What about it? I didn't like that. I didn't like him anyways. He didn't clean his room. He always had snot dripping out of his nose. I hate him. Him and his fucking goofy little red-haired freckled face. His face made me sick to my stomach. And he would have gone down in history. But he didn't do that. He just kind of cried and sobbed the entire time. And look where he is now. So, 1984, he got put down like a sick dog. And it makes me wonder, because if you recall, he killed his son in 1974. And he got lethal, and he was sentenced to lethal injection in that year or the following year, whatever. Within that year or so during the trial, he was sentenced to lethal injection. And he was in jail for 10 years? And then they put him down? Were they blue balling him the entire time? Were they sitting there going, gotcha? Oh, was a guard there with a syringe. He's like, I got you, Ronald. Nah, I'm just kidding. That's another 8 years. Don't worry. It's going to be 8 years. Did I scare you? I saw it. Ooh, look at that. Ronald, guys, check it out. Ronald peed all over the floor. It's in my sock. It's in my sock, Ronald. What the fuck? Ronald? There is pee in my sock. I was kidding. How did you not? You didn't know I was kidding? This is an earwax remover for a baby. This isn't a fucking syringe, Ronald. God. Pull yourself together, man. Dear God. But they blue-balled him for 10 years. He was just sitting in jail going, oh, I just gotta chill in here for another couple of years till they kill me. I mean, I guess maybe it's the dread. If I was sentenced to death, I just want them to kill me immediately. Just because at least then it's there's no build up to it. It's not like you're waiting for the next GTA game. It's just the end. But I don't know. Maybe it's a psychological thing of you're gonna die, just not now. Maybe it's just the existent, the dread of knowing that it's gonna happen, but not yet. Who knows? Or maybe I'm dumb and I just don't know the whole system, the whole prison system. But anyways, yeah, he was killed in 1984, and he even during the execution, Ronald was sitting there going, "It wasn't me, I promise. It was the Mr. Candyman guy. It was the Candyman dude. He put cyanide in my kid's pixie stick, up until the end. Not an ounce of shame inside of his body. Pathetic." Next, we have the exchange student execution. On October 17th of 1992, a Japanese foreign exchange student named Yoshihiro Hattori was shot dead in Louisiana while looking for a Halloween party. Yoshi's hosts were off seeing a movie. And so they left Yoshi and their son Webb to go off looking for a Halloween party because they were invited that day. So they're off looking for that Halloween party and looking out for that Halloween party that they're invited to until they came across a house with a bunch of Halloween decorations, a similar address to the one they were looking for. The address for the party was 10131, and the address of the house was 10311. So obviously they'd mixed that up. Even someone as insanely smart and overeducated as me, with a insane vocabulary and an IQ of 125, would mix that up. But they thought the house that the party was at, and they go up to the front door. They knock on the front door, and some woman opens a side door that's attached to the garage. She opens the side door, she looks at them, and she slams it again. And because of this, Yoshi and Webb were both very confused. So they both started to walk back down the driveway to try to see if the house was anywhere near that house, or if they got the wrong address and it was somewhere in the same area. So they started to walk off until the front door of the house behind them opened up. Out stepped a man named Rodney Paris. He stepped out of the house and he was holding a .44 Magnum revolver. And I might be wrong, but I think that's the same one that Dirty Harry used in the Dirty Harry movies. I might be wrong. Don't fact check me. I'm pretty sure that's what it was. But that's a big gun. Like, what gun did Dirty Harry carry? A 44 Magnum. That's a big gun. That's a big, huge gun. So, Rodney steps out carrying this gigantic gun. Yoshi's an exchange student. He doesn't understand America. He's Japanese. He's a Japanese foreign exchange student. He doesn't understand, obviously. So he was always known as a very free spirit, very energetic, very happy. And so he saw the guy step out and he started jumping around, jumping up and down, saying, "We're here for the party, we're here for the party." The guy got fucking, I don't know, he got like Vietnam flashbacks or something. So he saw Yoshi jumping around and he just went, "They're in the trees." And he points the gun at Yoshi. He points the gun right at Yoshi. He's like, "Don't fucking move, you fucking Jap." He might have said that, I don't know. But he points the gun at Yoshi and says, don't move, freeze. Freeze. He points the gun at Yoshi and says, "Freeze, you fucking yellow-skinned monkey." Maybe, allegedly. He points the gun at Yoshi, yells, "Freeze." And Yoshi didn't understand what he was saying. Very small fault. I don't like victim blaming. Very small fault on Yoshi for seeing a gun pointed at him and going, "It's party time," and just walks. So he starts walking forward towards Rodney, and that's the smallest little fault I'll put on Yoshi. Don't walk towards someone who's pointing a gun at your face. But maybe he didn't understand. Maybe he didn't see. Maybe he thought it was a prop gun. I don't know. I really hope so. I really hope he didn't really realize what the situation was and wasn't just being like kind of ignorant. But he steps towards Rodney. Rodney shoots a shot off and it blasts Yoshi straight in the chest. So then Rodney quickly goes back into his house and Webb's parents get the call that Yoshi had been shot. And he went off on an ambulance to the hospital, but he was pronounced dead within like the hour. Very tragic. Poor Yoshi. He was a 16-year-old kid, and he was just super excited to go to a party. And some little 31-year-old hick just opens the door and sees a Japanese person super excited, and he's like, "They're fucking invading again," and shoots him in the chest. And so they took Paris to court, and it became a huge media circus. Not like the same scale as like the OJ trial, but it was a pretty big deal at the time, because it's a 31-year-old man, like point blank, shooting a Japanese kid in the chest for no reason other than the fact that I guess he was just Japanese. So I'm not alleging anything. But he just shot him in the chest for very unknown reasons. And his wife, her name was Bonnie, even said that she opened the door, she saw Yoshi, and he scared her. He scared her, and she closed the door and yelled to Rodney and said, "Get the gun." And that's how all that happened. And that makes me wonder, were they racist? Did they just not like Asian people or something? Like, she said she opened the door and sees just an Asian kid standing there. He was dressed as John Travolta that night. I didn't add that information in there because I didn't think it was important until about now. He was dressed up as John Travolta. And Webb was dressed up as like an injury victim who had like drowned in a pool. So he had like a pool net over his head and had like, swim trunks on, something like that. Very like goofy outfits. So you see this little Japanese kid dressed up as John Travolta, and your first idea is to get your husband to shoot the kid dead. So yeah, according to her, she was scared. Rodney shot Yoshi dead, and all of it went to trial. And in the end, Rodney was acquitted because Japanese people are weird, which seemed to be the verdict. That's all it seemed to be. It was like, well, you don't really understand. Japanese people don't belong in this country. So when you see a Japanese person in your country, what are you gonna do except blow their fucking brains out on your front door? People applauded, thunderous applaud. I don't understand. The verdict was it was self-defense. Defending his home, trespassing on private property, whatever bullshit you want to call it. But to me, it sounded like there was a lot of emphasis on the fact that he was Japanese. So it might be a contributing factor. I don't know though. But he was acquitted, and It was all because he was working in self-defense because he had to defend his wife from those dirty Pearl Harbor freaks that would just come. Like I was looking at the file too, and obviously Yoshi had hellfire and bullets just like in his eyes. You could see the war in his eyes, and Rodney caught a whiff of that, and he went crazy and blew his chest out with the Magnum. But really, I feel like Rodney should have gone to jail. Like there was, I just looking at the case itself, I feel like Rodney should have gone to jail because his lawyers tried saying stuff like Yoshi was a very eccentric and hyperactive kid, and he would often scare people around the neighborhood, which is like, it seemed to not be true just by crossing it by like other kids that went to the high school that he was going to. Everybody at the high school loved him because he was, according to them, he was a very happy, kind, free spirit. So it just did not go hand in hand with what the lawyers were saying, but that's the official verdict, and I guess Rodney is not guilty, but I do not agree. Maybe. I don't know. Please don't come for me. Please don't come for me. First video, I can't take it. So that's pretty much all I had for you today. It was just a little teeny weeny little list of 3 cases where all that happened. A lot more Asian people died in this video than I was expecting. It was completely accidental. I did not mean to put that many Asian people dying. The first was, with this whole South Korean thing, that was just a case that was on it. That was just, I thought it was interesting. I never even heard about it till now. And then when I put Yoshi in there, now that I'm saying it, I realize this entire video is just how many times Asian people can die on Halloween. And I don't want to make it seem like that. That was completely unintentional. But yeah, a lot of Asian people died today. A little kid snorted a pixie stick with crack cocaine in it. And I thought these cases were interesting because I'd never heard of any of these until now. And I just wanted to share them with you because I haven't seen anyone talk about them online either. I might be in a bubble. I might be completely wrong. But I thought it was an interesting little thing to look at. Happy Halloween. I hope y'all enjoy your night. I hope y'all go out to some college fucking fraternities and sororities and get your freak on. Go drink a bunch of like alcohol and booze and do a bunch of crazy stuff, very illegal stuff. Go underage drink. Underage drinking is really, really cool. It makes you a cool person. So if you're 18 years old and you're listening to this video right now, get one of your of-age friends to buy you some alcohol and go have a very, very great time on Halloween because drinking makes you a cool person. Don't forget that. Enjoy your Halloween.